Welcome to the training video for the Platinum System for Painting titled Using Excel Template. This video will focus on using the Excel template that came with your Platinum System for Painting. There is another video that focuses on advanced processes that will help you understand database structure, customization, and use. As a preface to this video, there are 3 things that we'd like you to be aware of. First on the list, please watch and complete all the items shown on the YouTube video. The search Platinum System Training-Getting Started. Second on the list, understand how our labor rate is calculated and used. We also have a YouTube video on that one. Search the term Calculate an Accurate Labor Rate by Evergreen Technology. Third on the list, if you will be doing estimating from digital plans, watch the YouTube video. Search Platinum Systems Training-Using PlanSwift. Also, as a reminder, use your video pause and play buttons to freeze the screen anytime you need to study the screen longer. Let's pick it up for those of you who will be doing estimating from digital plans in PlanSwift. Remember, PlanSwift is not sold as part of this package, it is sold separately. At the demo video, we used a project that looked like this, and we got to the point where you would click on the Estimating tab at the very top of the screen. Now, if your Estimating tab shows a screen that looks like this is not the correct format. They call that Estimating Layouts. Make sure that you select the one that says Platinum Layout as a choice on the upper left-hand corner. This will show a screen that looks like this. With this then in here, all you would do is click on the Export button, and then PlanSwift will show a screen that looks like this. This is what we call the Excel dump. Simply highlight all the content on this page and then use the copy and paste feature. Right click, copy, and that will put this flashing green line around it. That tells you that this is now ready to paste into your software. You would then open the Excel spreadsheet that came with Platinum Estimating System. We call this the master template. When you open this master template, it may land on a page that looks like this, in which case your first step would be to go to the PlanSwift Import button, navigation button on the upper left. When we click on this, it will take us here, in which case we would then paste, right click and paste that content from PlanSwift into here, adjusting your columns if you want to. This last note ID was used in PlanSwift as indicated in that training video. Once you have this imported into the system, you then follow the navigation buttons in order all the way down. Just suggested. Of course, you can do it any order you want, but Takeoff Spec is the next thing that is our step. This is the screen that's going to allow you to set up that job. You would put in up here, give it the job name that you're estimating. For the customer information, if you have your customers on file, then you would click the drop-down box and select one of the customers that you have set up in there. By doing this, you can see it automatically populates all of their information. In the event that you do need to enter the customer information, you click on the Customer Data button here. It will take you to the database that allows you to enter their information. These would be the customers that you do bids for on a regular basis. Otherwise, you can go back to the takeoff screen and enter information for all the customers that you're only going to do a bid for one time. We can also list the architect if we want to by the same process. Drop down and click the architect. The architect database can be found by clicking the Add button just below the architect field here. You can also enter manually the plan date, the bid date, and the bid time just for your records. If there's a bond that applies to this job, just put an X in here, and you can edit the percentage right here if you wish. If there's a group where you're bidding more than one projects in one bid to a contractor, you can identify that group in this field here. Now the next step is you're going to come in here and specify the paint systems for each one of these line items that you have now taken from your estimate. To do this, you would click on this box, hit the drop down arrow, and you will notice that it will populate a list of painting systems that only apply to the category selected. In other words, this line is for the walls. It will only give you systems of paint that you would put on the walls. It does not have exterior stuff. It does not have any industrial painting products. It doesn't have stuff you would put on doors, frames, ceilings, bollard, all that other kind of stuff. It only gives you the drop down of what pertains to those walls. Let's scroll down here and let's say this is going to be getting 1 coat of primer and 2 coats of eggshell latex. We find that right here. 1 coat primer, 2 coats of eggshell latex. We're going to click on that once. We can hit the Control-C to copy that, and we're going to paste that down for all the walls that have that system. Now down here, I've stopped here because the bathrooms have an epoxy system. Same process. Drop down, find epoxy, 2 coats of epoxy with 1 prime coat would be the appropriate one for that. For doors and frames, now you'll notice my order of what's on the list changes. Typically we put 2 coats of semi-gloss latex enamel, and you'll notice that's at the top of my list. We can then copy and paste that as well to the doors and frames. For the ceilings, flat latex should be at the top of our list. It is. We're going to give it 2 coats of flat latex. And then for pipe bollards, typically we'd put an industrial enamel on that. So that's a quick little feature that's going to help you very quickly enter and specify the materials that are going to go into this project related to each line item. Now that that's done, over here on the far right hand column, we have the alternate column. This alternate column is where we can say this line item is an alternate, and it tells me the format. ALT1 should be the first characters, and that will make the alternate system work. ALT space 1, and then I can define anything I want in here. This is for pipe bollards. Now another thing before we leave here, we can specify our paint manufacturer that we want to purchase our paint from. This little drop-down box will give you Sherwin-Williams, Benjamin Moore, PPG, and Behr, which have been set up in the system for you, complete with our guess at their prices. We'll talk about that shortly. When I select SWP, that will bring up Sherwin-Williams paint, and then I have to specify the grade of paint that we're going to be buying. You'll notice we have a 2 in this box. The hint over here, 3, if I put the number 3, that means good quality product, or in this case, it's the least expensive paint that you can get in order to be more competitive with your pricing. 2 for better is the one that we suggest you use for what you typically buy in your company when you're going to be purchasing materials. We click the number 1 over here, and that would shift it to the premium grade paints for the manufacturer that we have specified. Now this is important. Assuming your database is accurate and complete, you are now 100% done with this estimate. Everything is automatically populated for you. No extra work, no extra time needed. However, you're always going to want to take a look at the labor that this thing calculated for this project and see if any changes need to be made for any specific purpose. Following our navigation bar on the left-hand side, we click the Edit Labor button. That will take us to the Edit Labor page, where we can now specify the speed at which this job is to be done. Right here on K5, we have the box that identifies this is going to be using production rates at regular speed. Now you'll notice here I have my prime hours. We got 13 hours for primer. We have 26 hours for finish, for a grand total of, over here in column T, 39 hours for this project. If this project is going to be slow, meaning there's some factor that's going to slow it down, you need more hours for this job, you simply hit the drop down arrow here and select slow. When you do that, you'll notice my base hours now went from 39 up to 51 hours, adjusting your finish hours as well as your prime hours. I'm going to kick this back to regular. And now if I want to say any particular line item, let's say my wood doors are going to be a very slow speed, I'm going to select that line item and say for the doors, they're going to be panel doors. It's going to take me a little bit more time, so I need that line item and only that line item to be slow. It went up to 23 hours over here. Now you'll notice it also turned yellow. This is a flag through your eye to let you know that this line item has been changed from its default. Now you'll note all the light green boxes here. Remember from our color codes in the instructions, light greens means you can change this to anything you want. If you want to make the finish hours going from 5 up to 6, you can just change that to a 6 and all is good, and it'll recalculate automatically. Now let's take a look at the next thing you want to look at, your materials. The Edit Material button here on the left-hand side, and we'll navigate to there. And you'll see it's the same thing. Light green means you can change it to whatever. It has used the manufacturer you have selected, Sherwin-Williams Paint. It brings up their product-specific names. Now let's say we want to make sure that it is specified correctly. This is showing Promar 200. For the finished materials, that grade of paint. If we go back to this takeoff specifications and find that the architect has specified the better grade materials, we simply change this to 1 on the takeoff spec, go back to the materials, and now you'll see that this now has been changed to super paint all the way down. Macro epoxy 646, etc. all the way down here. That's going to be a useful feature. We're going to go back to the takeoff spec, and let's come here back to the grade of 2, typical stuff we typically purchase, and let's say that the architect has specified you must use Benjamin Moore paints. We'll change this to Benjamin Moore. Now when you click on your Edit Materials, you'll notice that everything has automatically changed to Benjamin Moore paint material descriptions over here, and their related production rates and their related prices as you have it in your database. Remember, this has to be accurate in order for your bid to be dead on accurate, and that is explained in the startup video. You'll notice up here we have an area that lets you see competitiveness between suppliers. It's showing me that currently Sherwin-Williams is the lowest bid, Benjamin Moore is the highest price for materials, and these other two fall in between. In the event that this is the case, you may be able to call the architect and ask them if you can make a material substitution to lower the price to be more competitive. If they say yes, you can use Sherwin-Williams. We can then come back to my takeoff spec, change the supplier back to Sherwin-Williams, and then our materials will then go back to materials specific to Sherwin-Williams paint. And remember the light green boxes, again, I can change any of these numbers to whatever I want. If you get a special deal on your paint, down to say $12 a gallon for larger projects, I can edit this to $12 and it'll automatically recalculate the entire bid based on that information. Next on the list, we have the Add Equipment button. When I press it, we already have made for you a whole bunch of things that you can have for equipment. You simply put in how many days, weeks, or months you need. Let's say for this project, I need 1 week of that shorter scissor lift there. In the setup process, we've explained how to set up your prices, so make sure that is done so that this then is accurate. Simply by putting how many weeks you need of whatever scissor lift you need, that will automatically put that into your bid. Now that we've gone through the upper section of the estimating activities, we can now take a look at the summary of this job. When you click on the job summary, it gives you a whole bunch of information broken down for you to show you what it has calculated. The lower half of the screen here is going to be a detailed breakdown of each line item. The helpful tool here is going to be the unit price cost. If you're looking at these unit prices and saying those seem low, then that tells you one of two things need to be edited. You need to edit your labor or your materials to make sure that you're getting the unit prices that you're used to seeing. Now this screen is incredibly useful with an additional feature here that we call the base additional items. In your base bid, you may have something pop up where you need to add something. Anything you can imagine is covered in the base additional items button. We'll simply click on that and it will bring us to this screen that says I can add however many hours I want to for whatever you want to designate that for. It'll automatically populate the labor rate that you're using to calculate that into your bid. We have mobilization checked, where it will automatically add the amounts that you have specified in these boxes here. If it's an overtime job that applies, we put an X down here, it'll automatically pick up your additional overtime as needed. Now there's also allowances. What is the dollar amount that they want to allow for miscellaneous painting use? This may be asked for by the general contractor. Would you just put that in? Add an additional 40 touch-up hours as asked for by the contractor. Put in the hours here. A dollar amount here. Whatever you want to add a specific amount for whatever. Again, we have even more line items for that thing. Add an amount for whatever you want to. Okay, we also have down here the boxes that will allow you to check to add travel, per diem, and parking. If there's a bid bond on this project, you would put an X in this box down here and then edit the percentage of that bid bond over here. After you've entered this information, you would then go back to your job summary and you'll see those items have been added into this area down here as needed. Now over here, our alternate section, you can see that we have the base bid identified here. The next line item was for the pipe ballers, which it pulled that dollar amount out. We then enter the description in this area that will show up on the proposal sheet as you want your customer to see it. Alternate number 1, pipe bollards. And now that will show up correctly. Let's take a look at that proposal. Over here in the navigation button, click on the proposal button and it will take us to this area. We are the only software program that we know of that has several different formats of proposals automatically generated for you. If you're bidding to a residential customer, you would put an X here. If we're bidding to commercial on this project, we have that checked. Our HOA is for Homeowners Association. By clicking these buttons, it will change the format of this to fit those types of customers. Do you want the industry standards to show up, yes or no? Do you want to ask for a material draw? If so, you put a check there. And what percent? Usually that's just left blank. Do you want to show them line item prices? We recommend that you leave that blank. Prep levels. Do you want to show them a description of the prep levels? We'll leave that check just for demonstration. Now you'll also notice that your customer information is automatically populated, as well as your estimator information automatically populated based on how you set that up on the Takeoff Spec button. Sample job pops forward. In the setup process, it mentions to edit this information to make sure that that is going to fit your company. This way it's pretty much done. Upper right hand corner, we hit generate the proposal as you've asked for it up here at the top. It will then automatically populate this to say here's your proposal, there's the base bid here. You can type in the plan date. You can put any addendums acknowledged here as that applies, and change this to whatever you want it to read. As we scroll down, you can see it has the alternates here and the interior and exterior prep levels defined. Exclusions automatically populated. Clarifications automatically populated. And yes, you can edit these to whatever you want to here. You can also edit your defaults. To edit your defaults, you come back up here to the top and say, I want to edit my exclusions and clarifications. You can type in whatever you want to show your customers, have it read the way you want to, and put an X in whatever you want to automatically show up on your proposals from then on. Back to the proposal sheet. Now in the event that you do not want to show the prep levels, we can come back here and say, let's clear this report. I do not want to show the prep levels, so we'll delete that out and then we'll regenerate that report. Now the proposal is done with those prep levels gone. Down here at the bottom we have 3 pages of additional information that is basically what we call industry standards that will be sent with your proposal to help you deal with all of the contractual things that a general contractor may have in their contracts. So this proposal is a very powerful tool that will help you generate the proposal that you hand to your customer in just a few minutes. While we're here, let's take a look at some of the information items that you have in this system. When you click on the project notes, this sends you to a form that you can take any notes that relate to this project that your field may be interested in, that upper management may be interested in, and just keep a record of that. Next thing on the list is the addendums button. When you click the addendums button, it allows you to track all the addendums the contractor has. This is addendum number 1. What are the descriptions of things that relate to painting on that addendum? Any notes that you need to keep record of? Very helpful tool to track all the addendums to make sure that you have included in your bid anything that may have shown up there. Next on the list is the accounting. In this accounting button, it works similar. It has the generate report button up here that works the same as the proposal. When you generate the report, it gets rid of everything it doesn't need and shows your accounting department. Here's the base contract with everything in it. Here's the pipe bollards amount here. Here is the total base contract with the alternates approved. If that alternate has been approved, then they would put an X in this box here simply to let the field know that that has now been approved. We go back to the job summary and now continue with the field reports features of this software. Again, navigation bars over here on the left hand side. We click on the field reports and it takes you to this area here. The first thing we need to do is to find out what colors are used on this job and where they go. So we'll hit the assign colors button here. It shows you a list of all the things that we have done on our takeoff, and you'll notice the last 4 digits of each line item has P01, P02, P03, P04 in this format. This was in the PlanSwift training video. Make sure you end with the color used. If you do not have those entered at the time of estimating, you can always enter them later at this point. Now, what color do we want to use for P01? This is Sherwin-Williams SW fan deck number. Let's say they specified 6119. It will automatically pop up the name of that paint. Paint 2 SW 6115. That's totally 10, again found in the fan deck. It's automatically generated. Over here on the right hand side here, it will tell you the primer specified for that line item was Promar 200. Same thing over here for the finished materials, specified for each line item. I've gone ahead and put in the rest of these numbers just for example. You'll notice 6119 is used up here. It's also used down here. We've used it twice because this is for a different product, pre-catalyzed epoxies for the bathroom. We've used it again down here. Antique white is also specified for the ceilings, recognized down here. You'll also notice that down here we have 2 different line items that specify the same paint. When it comes to calculating your materials, it will notice P1 and P2 and take the grand total of the primer gallons and put it on one line item. Basically meaning if you had 15 lines here as an example that had P1, the same color, the same material, it'll take all 15 line items and give you a grand total for the entire project on the material ordering sheet, which we'll take a look at now. That's our field materials button here in the upper left hand corner. This is now ready to send to your manufacturer. We specified Sherwin-Williams. It populates with their information. It shows them we have an estimated quantity of 30 gallons. However, how many do we want to order? We may only want to order 25 for now and then save the rest for later to see if we need more later. Same thing for the finished materials. You have the how much do you want to order compared to how many was estimated over here. Once you put in the quantity that you want to order, that is now ready to send to your paint supplier. We don't know of any other software package that has a better system for automatically generating your material order for the field. Can you imagine how many hours that would save you having to go back into the set of plans and figure out where the colors go, figure out how many gallons you need of primer and finish for each color for that job site. Very powerful tool here. So make sure that you take advantage of the color numbers. We take a look back here from the takeoff. All you do is put in those 4 characters at the end of each line to designate which paint it's going to be, and then this system becomes a tremendous tool for you. Next on the list on the left hand side, edit labor. This is a scope of work to your field. It goes to your crew leaders or your foreman in the field. It shows them here's a list of everything scheduled to paint on that job. You'll notice that alternates at the bottom says no, it has not been approved and there's nothing here. That means don't paint them. In the event that the accounting says paint that, yes, it has been approved, this will then change to a yes, and this will automatically populate with the information there. Now remember, your field project manager needs to know the quantities many times. It will help them know that you've got 17 doors and frames. If the contractor tries to tell you that there's 24 doors and frames on this job site, you know there's a change order coming. It also has their goal. Here's the prime hours estimated, the finish hours estimated, a grand total hours budgeted for this project for each line item. Now we want you to do it with a goal up here. Set the goal for 10%, beat it by 10%. That means your goal hours, even though we've estimated 39, we need you to get that done in 35 hours. This way your employees know we have to have some hours left over for punch list and touch-ups. If you have the production awareness program, this becomes a very helpful tool to let the foreman know what's expected and how they can do their production awareness program techniques to help them stay on target and or beat the budget. The production awareness program is something that we have developed. Please give us a call so we can let you know how this production awareness program works that will save you tons of hours, reducing your labor expense tremendously. Moving on, next on the list is the field equipment sheet. This is a checklist where you can put in how much you want for all of your sundries up here, all of your field equipment down here, and any lift equipment that we've specified. You'll notice this first one is automatically populated and letting you know that you need this for 1 week. That's what you would type in there. That tells you need to order it, and the yellow box means it's on the job site. Get that back at the end of the job. The sundries is pretty much by quantity. Caulking, we need 24 tubes of latex caulk. The box here goes yellow. That indicates to the field that we do not let you keep our leftover materials for your side jobs. Whatever you have left over, bring it back. When you put in, we have received 12 of those back. That tells me that that has now been checked off. Very helpful tool in helping you prevent pilferage from employees. I know, none of our employees steal anything from us, right? Yeah, okay, it's just a safety measure in that case. We also have an extra feature here called Attic Stock. This is in case your contractor wants you to give them a list of all the leftover materials and where you put it. Print this out and use that accordingly. Okay, back to the job summary button. That pretty much covers everything that is a feature of the Excel estimating system. And of course, anytime you need any help on understanding anything, we put the help instructions button down here. When this is clicked, it will take you to the estimating for painting system here. And we have this area here that has these hot buttons that will take you to the topic that you're looking for help on. Contact us button. Feel free to use that at any time. Give us a call on my cell phone. Also the email here. We give unlimited support, no cost. as long as it is short questions. If you want us to train you personally on the phone and or customize some things for you, of course, that would be under different conditions. That concludes the training video. On screen now is a list of the other products that we carry. I'm going to ask you to freeze your screen right here, take a look at those things and see if there's anything you might be interested in. If so, give us a call at the phone number shown and or send us an email. I'd be more than happy to discuss this with you. And thank you for watching this video. Have a good day.